Sorry.
And welcome to Gameography.
And welcome.
And welcome.
And welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to Gameography,
And welcome to Gameography.
podcast about video games and the people who make them.
And the people who make them.
And E is here with us.
Hello, everybody.
And Iru.
And of course, Tim.
And of course, Devin.
That's me.
I mean, of course.
That's me.
It's
Was that Yoshi?
That's like a Navi being like, I'm here.
Did she like call you on like a 1950 cell phone?
Yeah. It's like, hey, I got a job for you. You know, like when you get like a side quest in this game. Hey, I got a job for you. Come down to the car shop.
Is this GTA 5 or are we talking about Zelda?
Yeah, when like you get a text from your fairy,
Roman.
It's like Navi, let's go bowling.
Yeah, exactly.
So welcome.
How much should I derail this show? Because I just want to talk about GTA 4 now.
Yeah, go for it. What do you have to say about GTA 4?
It's a good game.
Yeah, the game that we're talking about today doesn't have that much to say, so we have plenty of free time, Andy. It's a famously short game.
That we have to talk about doesn't have much to say. He's famously
famously
quiet
silent
and shy.
Hey, you know.
It's true. Man, until that big old owl comes by, you know what I mean? Then real chatterbox.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Save it for the pod, Andy. Did you understand everything I have to say? Yes or no? That's how the podcast is going to end.
And
then it replays.
Yeah,
But it's a really confusing like answer, so you accidentally replay.
But it doesn't replay the
podcast.
whole thing. It just replays like 80% of it. Like he doesn't.
Does the owl do that?
I feel like there's times where he won't say like the first couple of lines because he's not like explaining it to you yet. Really, he's just kind of like, "What's up?"
That's considerate of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Famously considerate owl. He gives you a ride back to places sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes when you don't even realize he's going to, in my experience.
I'd say more often than not, he doesn't let you know beforehand.
Well, he lets you know, but then it's like he's like, "Do you want to or not?" And then it's just like, "Oh, I guess I am." Like,
Is he in Majora's Mask?
he is very briefly.
He is? What role
He
does he
is.
play?
At least he should. As far as I've gotten, he shows up in the Goron part. He like leads you to the place to get the eye of truth or the lens of truth or whatever it's called.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Eye of
You're
Lens,
right.
yeah.
You're right. That's so random. He's just
I don't think it's the same owl canonically because he doesn't know you, or like Link doesn't know him.
that's a really good point considering the Majora's Mask takes place directly after Ocarina. That he then immediately runs into an owl who is identical visually,
Yeah.
and who does the exact same thing to him, and no one
I mean,
says
there's
anything.
lots of people who are identical visually in Majora's Mask,
true.
but well, listen, we're getting ahead of
Hey,
ourselves.
save it for the pod, Devin. Yeah. So we're just gonna cut all this out, right?
That's fine with me.
like everything, including the intro.
You guys just want to restart?
Well, this is good.
It's great.
Definitely keep in. This is good. Keep this in.
But cut. This is great.
So if you haven't guessed already today, we are talking about The Legend of Zelda and the Ocarina of the Time.
All right. This game came out in 1998. In November of 1998 in North America and Japan. It's the fifth game in the Zelda series, and the first with 3D graphics, of course. Okay, so this game has 5 directors, and Miyamoto was kind of like the supervising director over everyone.
Really?
Um,
Who are the 5 directors? Are they recurring characters?
Toru Osawa was the script director, so like the story director, basically.
Oh.
Yoichi Yamada, game systems. He's like, I think he's like continued to work on Zelda. Like he
Okay.
co-directed Wind Waker, and he was a designer on Breath of the Wild and stuff. Eiji Aonuma is
He's
like
classic. Didn't he make Sonic?
what?
No, that's Yuri and Yuki Naka.
Yeah, no, he's like the Zelda guy. But
He's the Majora's Mask guy, right? I thought that's when he started.
Oh, that guy.
this is his first Zelda game.
He's the glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the glasses. He's like the Zelda main producer. Like,
Is he the one that
basically
said my
after
body
this.
is ready?
You
Where's
know
that
that.
from?
You know that's
Yeah.
not him.
I know. I'm just kidding.
You know, Andy actually asked me this morning if Reggie had shown up in the podcast yet, and I realized like no.
That's all I want
Oh.
to talk about is Reggie.
I still don't even know really what he's ever done or who he is.
He was the
Yeah.
ex-president until Bowser dethroned him. The president of the American Association of Nintendo.
Nintendo of America. Yeah.
But
I think he started in like GameCube era.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
and
yeah.
he was just like a telephone dude. Like he ran a company before
A
that or something.
telephone dude?
He's just like he's not in video games. He's just a guy.
So
Yeah.
he's just like a business person
Yeah.
that we all care about because video games are something people care about, and so they care about this guy. even
Yeah,
though it's
for
just a
some
business.
reason.
He's like he has like kind of a personality, I would say.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
I
he
mean, like
definitely-
his body's
come
ready,
out on stage.
etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that in like a reference to?
I
Or
think
when did he
that was
say
Wii
that?
Fit.
Yeah, he goes out. They're presenting the Wii Fit, and it says like I think it says on the screen in the game or something like make sure your body is ready, and it's gonna weigh you or something.
Yeah.
And Reggie just says my body is ready,
This is on
and then
at E3.
the world like stopped
Yeah,
and never forgot that
the
moment.
sky darkened.
It's weird though because if you watch that video, it's like I would never expect that to become like a meme.
Yeah. That's the thing is he's fun for the memes, but in all reality, I was thinking about Reggie yesterday. Whereas if I were like a businessman, and he was like at this point like 70 years old. Well, I don't know how old he is now,
I don't
but
think he's that old. honestly.
but he's like an old, decrepit old. But he's he's there at a business meeting. I would go up to him and be like, Mr. Fizame, you've been in my life since I was a small child. I've never not been aware of you. I would like to thank you for your service.
You were thinking about this yesterday?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go up to him and say my body is ready. And he will like consume you or something.
Like the
Kirby.
the like or whatever. You know,
Luca-
Ocarina of Time, the thing that sucks you
Oh,
up,
oh,
and then he
yeah,
would spit Andy out without a shield and his tunic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So without his
That'd be great.
like
Yeah, without his
overcoat
thing.
his jacket.
Yeah, what if he was wearing like a giant like Snuggie that was in the like looked like one of those, and he would like he had a habit of going up to people and taking it, and it could stretch out really far and grabbing them and then sucking them up into a Snuggie. You can cut that if you want.
No, that was good.
That'd be very interesting.
I've seldom actually seen Devin so lost in his thoughts as in like trying to think of a response to that.
I mean, I'd love to see him in a Snuggie just regardless. Okay. So yeah, so he was one of the main guys, and then Yoshiaki Koizumi.
Yoshi.
Him and Aonuma are the co-directors of Majora's Mask. And then he also went on to make Sunshine and Mario Galaxy.
Which one's Mario?
He eats the pasta.
That's true. Wait, so is the Kirby guy not in it? Who also made Smash Brothers?
Sakurai.
No,
Yeah, Sakurai.
no. Of course, he has nothing to do with anything.
He was busy smashing.
Oh, that's true. Because Smash probably came out. It was a early release or maybe late release for the N64.
I think
Either
late.
one.
I think late, probably because I must have come after this.
I think Smash Melee was actually an early release for the Nintendo GameCube.
I think it was.
If not
though,
a
yeah.
release day game,
Was it?
dare I say.
I
you know.
don't think so. Smash
I'm
Bros.
just speculating.
Smash Bros. Was 1999, so the year after, and then Melee is
Oh.
2001. So there's only 2 years in between those.
Wow,
kinda
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, seriously?
So
Wow.
maybe we should save this for what may never happen, but what could one day be the Sakurai season of Gameography. But like, was Smash Bros. The first one not really expected to be as big of a hit as it was, or something?
I think it's
like, why would-
I think it
why
had a
would-
fairly low budget. And
Yeah.
like
Because that would actually make sense just based on like it is kind of like a smallish game
Yeah.
in a sense,
Yeah.
and then Melee is like way more expansive.
yeah.
I mean, yeah. I cannot
Ooh.
say.
I do want one factoid for when Ganondorf in Melee when you press B and he does his Captain Falcon punch, but he goes like ah. He made that sound at the beginning of the boss battle with him in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the exact
Also, like
rip
they
from it.
take the characters from other games and put them in Smash Bros.
I just thought it was
There's
a nice attention to detail, Sakurai.
Well, what's funny is so that's true. I guess I didn't recognize that
Sakurai
sound, but-
himself was like, guys, that was the only thing he did that day. He's like, guys, I got an idea. When he's doing his punch, take this sound clip and put it in.
What's interesting though is that they took that sound, but the most iconic thing that Ganondorf does in this game is shoot that ball, and in Smash he never does that.
Ganondorf is not at all like what he is in the game
Yeah.
in Smash Bros. It's very
he
strange.
doesn't even play the organ.
Yeah, actually, yeah, because I take that back. The
That
most
should have been
iconic
his-
thing he does is play the organ.
That should have been his. Well, was that ever his final Smash? And like,
Was that
No,
ever?
he turns into
Like you would
the
know.
giant. He turns into Ganon for his final smash.
Oh, that
So
makes
not
sense.
a good
No,
one.
but yeah, because
that should have been it.
Yeah.
And then he turns
nothing
and
happens.
looks, and then everyone blasts out.
That'd be really good.
we should say ahead of time, if you haven't played Ocarina of Time,
You'll be spoiled.
Spoilers. He plays an organ.
yeah, because when you hear that organ music, the whole climb up, and Andy was joking like, "Oh, he's gonna be playing the organ," and I really thought he was joking. And then you go up there and you look. That was one of the best moments of the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was something they brought back for Twilight Princess as well. He plays the organ in that game.
Wow. Wait, so did you play that game?
No, my brothers played it. I played some of it.
Okay,
I never got that far. I never really liked it.
nice.
It sucks. It seems pretty good.
So astute listeners at home might recognize that Andy is joining us today. Andy is here, and the reason he's joined us, arguably, is because one, he helped me beat Ocarina of Time today, and
In what way?
And I also helped you begin it.
yeah.
because so Andy beat the first few dungeons for me, and then today he just did a few of the rooms in Ganondorf's castle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But also, I thought it'd be nice to have Andy here so that we could all talk about our experiences playing Ocarina of Time as children. So, Andy, what was your experience with Ocarina of Time as a young person?
Well, you have to travel back to 1998 when Ocarina of Time released
When you
for
were,
the
like,
first time on a
2?
Nintendo N64.
October 27th,
I think-
1998.
I was
Andy
trying to-
is a baby aware of Reggie.
So, the pre-order bonus for Wind Waker. You may be speaking about this momentarily.
Do you have anything about this? Because I didn't even think to talk about this.
No.
Wow.
But I thought you would talk about it because isn't that how you played it?
Yeah, it literally is.
Yeah. So the pre-order bonus for Wind Waker was you got the Master Sword Edition Plus or Master Quest Edition Plus the actual original version as well of Ocarina of Time as an emulation on the Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
Majora's Mask, right?
Yeah, it has.
And-
It
and
has
also has
Zelda
Majora's
1,
Mask.
Zelda
Yeah.
2, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask.
and a demo for Wind Waker.
Yeah, and
That
a
was 20 minutes.
retrospective. It's very
Oh,
this video of like a bunch of different Zelda games that I watched like 1,000 times as a kid.
we should watch that. So I can't. We owned Wind Waker. My brothers must have pre-ordered it because I think we might have had that copy. But my memory is either borrowing it from you or borrowing it from Kyle
I didn't
for an
ever.
extended period of time.
Oh, that GameCube disc?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. I
Did
think
you end up with it?
I 100% lent you that for like I think upwards of a year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the one that
Wow,
I
I
played
forgot about
Ocarina of
that.
Time on.
Wait, so did you never have an N64?
No, we never did. We had that one Sega console
Insane.
that was 3D What's that called again?
The Dreamcast?
Yeah, we had the
Wow.
Dreamcast.
What?
And then
That's amazing.
And before that, we
That's
did
great.
have a Super Nintendo, but I don't remember that. But then like all my friends had N64, so I played a lot of the games, but not extensively until later when I bought N64.
Real quick, tell the story of Kyle's N64.
Oh wow! I told you. So our mutual best buddy Kyle, famous rapper now, he had an N64 probably since the beginning. You know,
If you just Google Kyle,
Yeah, you'll find him. You'll see him. That's what we're talking about.
But he had an N64 that he was one of the kids I would play at his house. Same with Zack, he'll probably come up later. Famous speedrunner of Ocarina of Time. Can beat it in less than 8 hours. But so Kyle had an N64 and sold it at some point, probably in like 6th grade or 7th grade or something like that, to get an Xbox 360. And I would say it was junior year of high school that I bought an N64. I don't think it was freshman year. I think it was a solid like 4 to 5 years later. I bought it from what was that place called?
GameStars?
GameStars. Yeah. And so I
Just
bought
a
it.
local used game shop like
Yeah,
GameStop.
and I bought it, and on the front was written Kyle McMillan,
It was the same Nintendo 64.
including, I believe, even one of the games. I think I bought like Coliseum, or was that what that was called? No, that was the
Pokemon?
GameCube. Yeah, Pokemon.
Pokemon
Arena?
Stadium?
Stadium.
Pokemon
Yeah, Pokemon
Stadium.
Stadium.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
guess.
And I think that one also had Kyle written on it. So yeah, I bought his N64 like 5 years later. It was weird.
Why did you buy Pokemon Stadium?
That's a really good question.
Because that was one of the few. That's one of the earliest memories. Probably the earliest memory of a game I ever have is going over to my friend Anna's place in Chicago to play Pokemon
Weird.
Stadium,
Wow.
or what is it called?
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Pokemon
So like
Stadia.
you played that before ever playing like any of the real Pokemon games?
I don't know. We had it all, except we didn't have an N64. But my brothers all had like Pokemon and all that. So, the first Pokemon game I ever bought myself, I think it was also 2004, was Fire Red for the Game Boy Advance.
It's a good one.
That's a very, very good game.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the definitive Pokemon game to me.
I think it
mean,
is
yeah.
it is indicative of the difference between the three of us. The you two played Fire Red and I played Water Blue or whatever.
Leaf
Leaf
Green.
Green.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's indicative that you don't remember at all which one the name of the thing you played, and we do.
No, I remember you having Leaf Green, and I was like, why would you buy that? Like, it's so lame.
It's so good.
I still don't understand
literally
it, but-
garbage. 0 out of 10.
It's not my fault.
Fire
that
Red
it's just
10 out
the
of 10
best.
though.
Yeah, it's 10 out of 10.
They're very different.
Yeah, that's my history. And then I will just open this cat's box, as I used to say, of Zack, our friend, who speedruns Zelda constantly. So every single memory now at this point has been overtaken by Zack of Ocarina
How many
of Time.
times have you been with Zach where he's done that?
Like every time. Although no, he would also
Like-
like tell us the next day at school like how he was speedrunning Zelda the previous night. So,
Like how many times did you guess?
I mean probably 4 or 5 at this point.
Oh,
Or-
okay. I thought you were gonna say more than that.
No, I think I've been there when he's played it, but like full playthroughs, it's 4 or 5.
Can you call Zach really quick?
Yeah.
Get him on the phone really quick. Damn, I hope we didn't have any plans for this episode.
No, there's of course like no notes about this game.
Would you want to honestly? We could release this as a bonus episode and just start again.
I mean, if any game were to have a 2-parter,
Yeah.
you could also cut a lot of stuff if you wanted.
Just like cut anytime Andy speaks. But keep us replying.
Hello, Zachary.
Hi, Andy.
Uh,
Yeah.
You're on the Gameography podcast with Tim and Devin, their podcast.
Like literally right now.
Hi,
Yeah,
Zach.
right
Hi, Zach.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Devin.
They're talking about Ocarina of Time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Zach, what's your best time beating Ocarina of Time?
I think it was just at 10 hours.
Oh wow,
That's really good,
that's
right?
still that's pretty
Yeah,
fast.
I think I looked up the beating it with no cheating or glitches or stuff stuff like that. Actually going through and playing, and it was around 10 hours. So
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, so
That's great. It took me about 4 months.
I spent too much time into it.
Yeah, of it being constantly on.
Yeah, Tim just beat it today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations! Was that the time that you guys called me and asked me for help?
Yeah.
Wait, what did you ask him?
Yeah, what part was it?
I don't remember.
It was how to get the hook shot.
Oh.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Who's your favorite Zelda character?
I don't know. Probably Link. There's not very many.
What's
Not a pony. I hate that horse.
Ephonia.
Oh wow, that's a hot take. What's your favorite dungeon, Zach?
Not the water temple, I'll tell you that. Probably the Gerudo Valley one where you get to snipe the guys with
Oh,
the
yeah.
arrow.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's probably the best one.
That's a very, very good one.
Yeah. Zach, is Ocarina of Time your all-time favorite game?
Oh yeah, by far. Every time we do the Beat a Game-a-thon, always that one. It doesn't matter.
So you'll be beating it next week when we do Beat a Game-a-thon?
Are we doing that next week?
I don't know. There's been rumors of it in this house.
Oh, well,
next
there was
Sunday.
rumors that I was going to do it with Luke and his friend.
No,
Oh,
Luke's
wow.
not invited.
What are you talking? You don't even play video games anymore.
I know. I've always said that I'll play video games on Beat a Game days. Although I'm not downloading Warzone because it'll take me 6 days to install.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they just updated it, and there's another 50 gigabyte update on it.
Honestly, I might install it though, since I do technically own it, or it's free.
Nick got Civ 5. You should play Civ 5 with us.
Okay, I'll
Tim's
play
got it
Civ
too. I'm
5.
pretty sure Devin has it.
Oh yeah, I got it. I don't think Tim does have it though.
Is that the second most recent one?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you won't,
I have that.
You won't
Oh,
be
really?
able to. Yeah, you won't be able to play Zack because you're gonna be beating Zelda.
Oh my god.
You don't think Zach can play Zelda and Civ at the same time?
Actually, honestly, yeah, he could. There's a lot of waiting around in that game.
I really need to play Majora's Mask though.
You never played it?
I've played it once, and I really didn't like the camera angle, how things were shot through it. I just had a hard time navigating because I was like, "Why is a camera angle like this?" I couldn't move it.
What?
It's exactly the same as Ocarina of Time. That's so weird.
No, it was it was in the town. When you first go into the town at the very beginning,
Huh.
they wouldn't let me move it. It was at an awkward angle. I don't know. I need to play it.
Yeah, I mean there are parts in all of the games where it's you can't
Yeah.
control it, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
weird. Do you have any other memories of Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, I got super stuck one time on the third spirit stone way in the beginning. And I could never figure it out. I was stuck at this one spot, and it was literally you had to pick up a box and put it on top of one of the switches, and it was
Is that when you're a
random.
kid?
When you're inside
yeah.
Jabu Jabu?
Yep, when you're in Jabba, yep. I could never figure it out. I had no idea, and then
Yeah.
I figured it out. And after that, it was the temples and stuff after that were hard, but they weren't impossible,
Yeah.
except for the water temple.
That's so funny. That's such a kid thing of just
Yeah.
you get stuck for weeks on something. So you're just I'm just gonna keep playing this.
I mean, honestly, this last month of playing it, if I hadn't used walkthroughs, I think I would have been like that on at least 5 different points.
Yeah.
Just stuck
Oh
for
yeah,
days.
yeah. I don't think I could beat it with without a walkthrough.
So it's the best game ever made, Zach?
In my opinion, yeah. I mean, it's hard enough where you actually have to spend time on it rather than just a simple go down this path, shoot this person.
Yeah. It's go down this path, hit him with your sword.
Snipe this person.
360 no scope this person.
Tim, how'd you end up beating Dark Link at the Water Temple?
Good cue.
Jeez, I just kept on hitting him, trying over and over again.
With the sword or with the sledgehammer?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I used the hammer.
I used the sword.
Yeah, I did the sword, and he kept on jumping on top of it and owning me. And it was just so humiliating that I took out the hammer and I destroyed him.
Yeah, I looked it up, and like if you don't Z target him, then you can like hit him like he won't jump on your sword and everything. So you can you can just kind of like roll around and then hit him, and that actually works.
Yeah, I always had a hard time with the sword, and then I switched to the hammer, and I got him a couple times. And then in my third run through, I was like, I can't hit him with the hammer. He wouldn't let me. He kept backflipping. So then I switched to Dinge Fire.
I used that.
I've done that before. Yeah,
I did that too.
Yeah.
Classic move.
Yeah.
All right,
I gotta go. I'm heading back down to Corvallis today.
Oh, wow! Nice.
All right, if you could date one Zelda character, who would it be, Zach?
I'm not answering that question.
It's too personal. Okay. Nighty-night.
Thanks, Zach.
Goodbye, Zach. Go Beavs.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Go Beefs. Beef power.
That was Zach.
That was Zach, ladies and gentlemen. If you Google Zach.
Yes,
He'll
Google
come
Zach and Google Kyle, and you'll know who you're talking about.
So this game began development before the N64 was obviously like even a thing, and it started with 2 staff members who I think both left. So Takao Shimizu, who then went on to be the director of Star Fox 64.
Oh,
He was kind of like the guy who started the game and like established it as being, he wanted to make it like a game about this Japanese sword style called Chambara.
yeah.
Did you see that?
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
How they wanted the game from the beginning to be like really intense, like realistic sword fighting, right? Like that was kind of one of the before development ideas.
Yeah, so like Chambara is like samurai film. Style.
Yeah.
So it's not supposed to be like realistic necessarily. It's supposed to be like cinematic.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, like,
how
it
it looks in like
yeah.
samurai movies and stuff.
Like it was supposed to be like ching ching ching,
Yeah,
back and forth, like complex sword fighting. And I thought about that so many times during the game because I feel like they really actually kind of capture that feeling at least with certain enemies where you really are like dueling.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
you
like
know?
the Stalfos and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So in 1965, I believe, when they first were showing off the N64.
In 1965?
Sorry, 1995.
I think that
In
started
1965,
October 20.
Miyamoto-san was born.
It's probably close to true. It's become a meme of Gameography that Devin always will just say the wrong decade.
In 1833.
Nintendo made the first playing cards in the world.
They announced the a bunch of games for the N64, and then they showed a 30-second clip of Link fighting, and this is what it looked like. I don't know if you can see this.
I've seen this one.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah, it's like truly bad looking. But at the time, people were like, "This is amazing."
Gosh, if viewers at home wanted to see that image, how would they do so?
Well, you can visit our website, gameographypod.com. Or you can go to our Twitter
at Gameography Pod. Also, Devin when he uploads the podcasts to like podcast apps, you can in Podcast Addict, I always will see that you can in the app somehow it loads the images and all of your notes and stuff. It's really cool.
Weird.
I don't know how you're doing that, but somehow through the
I think that's just something that Podcast Addict is doing.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So we got on our plug for Podcast Addict this episode too.
Honestly, if they wanted to sponsor us, they're it's probably the best podcast app, right? Even that as ads.
And then they also announced that it would be for the 64DD or disk drive. Just like how they did the original Zelda in Japan on the Famicom disk system.
These guys and their discs. They're obsessed with this idea.
They're big discs.
What? And they like because similar to how like the Famicom disk system, they were like, this will let you like save and do all this other stuff like you couldn't do. That was kind of like the idea is like you'll be able to do all this. There'll be all this stuff in Zelda like you couldn't do in like a normal N64 game. Obviously, that didn't happen.
You can talk to owls now.
But the only thing that I could really, see that like someone mentioned that they were going to do is like Miyamoto had the idea of, because I guess that like the overarching idea was that like it could like save more of like your own data into the game. So like things that you've done would like affect the world more.
Okay.
And like one of his ideas was like everywhere you walked, you would leave footsteps, and they would stay there for the rest of the game.
Wow.
Like footprints.
Oh, why is there something about that that's so classic Miyamoto? Like such an unnecessarily complicated idea.
Yeah. And just like would not really like
It would affect nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
make it better at all.
Oh, I was hearing about Twilight Princess and that with the signs, in every Zelda game, you cut the signs up.
Yeah.
And then Twilight Princess, the signs float in the water, but there's
They
no...
float in the water in this game.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like
That's cool.
in interviews there's a whole thing about how they like Miyamoto was like you should be able to cut the signs, and then they did it, and then like it fell into the water, and he was like, no, they have to float. And they were like, Jesus, like this is so hard.
Yeah, it's the same thing with but there was in the Twilight Princess, there's no signs next to water, so you have to like pick them up and move them to even see it. And they literally spent a whole day trying to, or I think it was more. He's like, it was very, very complicated.
Yeah.
To even figure out how to do that.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
because there's also a whole thing of like, I don't know if it would have been more complicated in Twilight Princess, because I don't know how like, can you like control more of like how the sword, like what angles the sword swings and stuff in that? Because like they were talking about how like you had to make it look like you cut it at the right angle when you're doing it, so they had to like make a bunch of different like pieces of the board so that it could be cut into different ways and stuff.
Yeah.
Just crazy. They spent like probably so much time doing that.
That was like my favorite. Every time I would pick up the controller to play as a kid, I would just go to the nearest sign and cut it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like you can laugh at how kind of innocuous that is as a detail, but that is that's one of the most distinct memories of playing the game.
Well, also it's just like indicative of like how much like detail they put into this game, like everywhere.
Yeah.
I think I would imagine that would help for game development too, because if you're like a developer and all you're doing is like making like mountains and like trees all day, and then all of a sudden he's like, hey, I want you to make like this crazy sign thing, it would be like, it might be like more exciting.
Like more fun. Yeah.
And then you like actually put more energy into the...
Yeah.
It's all so you can work harder.
That's how they talk about like the making of this game, because they were like, we didn't know what we were doing at all. Like they barely had made 3D games before. Like, like a bunch of the people that were making this had worked on Mario 64.
Okay.
But other people hadn't, and they were just like, we were just like having fun, just like trying to figure out what was like how to do anything like the entire time.
That's funny, because there were a lot of points where I would get frustrated in the same way that I would with Mario 64, where it's like they just clearly hadn't nailed certain aspects of what technically needs to happen for a 3D game to work well. But I also was very like I was blown away at how much more successful they are at it in this than in Mario.
Definitely, yeah.
And it's just like it's such a bigger game too than Mario.
Yeah,
where it's crazy that
so like
so
yeah
close together.
At the beginning they were unsure, because obviously they had also started working on it kind of at the same time they were making Mario 64. But they weren't sure like how big of a scope they could do, and Miyamoto talked about how they weren't even sure if like they could do like an overworld or like like big open areas and stuff on the N64. And an early idea was just that it would be like Mario 64, where the whole game is inside Ganon's castle.
Wow.
And like different areas are just like like the paintings. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That wouldn't have been right.
No.
No, that would have been like not great. But
I do kind of wish, I mean, that's the limitation with any game, especially an early 3D game, is like that you could actually go into the castle more and like hang out in there and actually explore. Like that's the only thing about that's especially different about like newer open world games like we have now, like Breath of the Wild. And this one is that at least in Breath of the Wild, like the whole entire castle you can explore it.
Yeah.
Well, also
But the drawback is there's nothing in there anyway. So
No, I feel like in Breath
they
of
did a
the
good
Wild,
job.
like you really do kind of feel like you're exploring a
Yeah.
castle-sized castle, whereas
they did a good job.
this,
with that,
if you really think about it critically, it's like not nearly doesn't feel as big as like a castle really would be. Same with Mario.
That's why they really just need to go back and not remaster the game, but just keep adding stuff to it. Like add a whole entire castle and like
I was kind of thinking about that at one point. Like, what if they
just keep expanding it?
Yeah.
For like years,
Like,
like
that
30
would-
years. That'd be awesome.
That'd be a good game.
It'd be a good game. It's a bad game now.
They'd fix this horrible game.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, that's like the surprising, or one of the more surprising things for me going back to it was like, there's literally like nothing in Hyrule Field.
Yeah.
It's literally just like an empty field, and
Yeah.
there's nothing in
Yeah.
it.
There's
like
like ghosts floating around and a big
Yeah.
horse shop.
Oh, you know the giant
yeah.
helicopter guys?
Yeah.
Zach, in the first time I think the first time I ever heard about this game was Zach was telling me how it was so scary that in the Hyrule Field that there were these lemonade stands that would attack you. And like the way he described them was like so surreal and freaky.
Like a lemonade stand.
Yeah, and I was like, what's going on? And then finally like I came over to his house and he showed me them. And like I was like, wait, Zach, that's not a lemonade stand. But then we were like so scared because he had built it up so much that they start coming at you.
That's not unreasonable even as kids, because like
They
it
are
is scary.
scary,
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, it's
Especially
scary.
when you realize like, I up until a certain point, like you just can't hurt it.
Yeah.
yeah,
What item is it that makes you able to do that?
I have no idea. I honestly never fought them because you never have to. Like,
Yeah.
I just ran away from it
Yeah.
whenever like it would
Correct
show
choice.
up. But yeah, and then just like other areas too and stuff. That is the big difference I feel like between this game and modern games. Is just like the areas in this game don't have a lot going on
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
But that's just what they were like able to do. I think like
Yeah.
they like literally couldn't put more like objects into Hyrule Field, I think. Like just with memory and stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel it feels obviously a little uneventful when you're crossing it, but I still enjoy it. You know, it feels like a big open field in a fantasy world. Like,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
almost prefer it because it's the same. Like Wind Waker is my favorite exploration game I've ever played, and it's also very much like there's really not a whole lot to do on the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of prefer it because it's just
like,
that's what like
staring at the
traveling is
screen.
like. Yeah, just staring
Yeah.
and not thinking, using your brain at all, and not thinking about anything.
no, but that is
very
true
nice.
because it's
That's
like
funny, yeah.
Yeah.
if you were in a boat that was a talking dragon
Yeah.
and you were like crossing an ocean,
And your name was Zelda.
yeah, and your name is Zelda. Yeah,
That's what it'd be like.
that's it. You would just
You'd just be going
you'd see
around.
nothing for a long time, and then you'd see random like little goals you go through to get rupees.
Yeah,
But it's like, yeah, that's real.
That's real.
yeah. I mean, and I think with like modern games like Far Cry or something, they'll throw stuff in there that sometimes can be fun, but a lot of times it is just filler to like make
Yeah.
it feel like there's more to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, like in Breath of the Wild, like you just fight the same kind of moblin guys
Yeah,
over and over again, and it's like
Yeah.
it is fun, but it's just like
Yeah, I mean, I just started ignoring them for the
Yeah,
most
exactly.
part. But
Yeah.
like, what I liked about like Breath of the Wild, of there being like, first of all, there was like more like just kind of random, interesting things, but then also like all the little Korok guys,
yeah,
and
and
like
it
the
is
shrines and stuff.
you do
are
like
more-
those rocks, core rocks.
Yeah, those guys rock.
Yeah, the kooks. Is it or corks? Is that what they are?
The
corks in
yeah,
the
there's
castle.
Corks in
Yeah,
my
the
castle.
corks.
corks in my castle.
Gotta get them out.
I need to get these corks out of my castle.
Okay, another early idea of Miyamoto's that he had that they did not do is making the game first person,
Oh wow!
because
Jeez.
he was like, we could do more, like if we didn't have to like draw a link onto the screen, we
Yeah.
could like have more like other graphics.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, and he talked about how he feels like that's like a more natural way to like experience like 3D worlds, which is interesting because like he's never made a first person.
Yeah.
But I was at one point thinking like, geez, this game is coming from a perspective. Well, I mean, more like Mario in the beginning of N64. It's coming from a perspective of like we're just like, what does a 3-dimensional game look like? And what they went with is like a movie. Whereas like it is almost more logical to like say like, yeah, make it first person from the beginning.
Well, another game that came out the same year as Half-Life on the PC.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was telling Tim you guys should play through Gabe Newell games. All 4 of them. Well,
And
we
we have
saw
to,
2 of them, Half-Life and Half-Life 2.
do we have to get a like $1,000 VR headset?
Yeah, it was
That's
also, yeah,
exactly
I
what
would-
Andy
yeah.
said.
And then I get to play it.
Yeah. No, but I mean, maybe that could be that's an interesting part of PC gaming's history. Maybe we should talk about
That
this.
is
sometime.
actually kind of amazing because I always think of Half-Life 1 as more advanced than like something like Zelda. Although Zelda is like a
played
great game.
Half-Life 1?
I've played through most of it. Probably just half, really. But it holds up incredibly well.
Do you know about the fan remake?
Yeah, Black Mesa, I think.
Yeah.
I've heard that's good.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really
I think
good.
people
It's
really
just
like
like
it.
insane that fans made it and then they like are selling it on Steam.
Yeah, and Valve's just like it has its seal of approval. They're like,
I
yeah,
know,
it's good.
it's insane.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
They sell it on Steam?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like $10 or something like that.
That's funny.
I played the original early version they had that was already like really good.
Yeah, it was like it started as a mod,
Yeah,
but yeah. Yeah.
that's crazy though.
Spoilers for next season. Okay. So then Miyamoto says that so they started development with just Adult Link.
Interesting.
Koizumi was like the director of like character design and animation and stuff like that.
Okay.
So he designed Link because his wife said that there were no cool looking Nintendo characters. So they should make a cool looking guy.
Yeah.
So he made Adult Link. And then Miyamoto was like, what if he was a cute boy?
It's just not fun enough.
Actually, I was watching a video about like them creating Link for this game, and they were saying that because they've never named the actor, but they used like a big Hollywood actor as kind of their template.
I saw that video.
Did you see that
really?
video? Yeah. And when, the thing that like every single quote they had from the actual developers, like, we found the most handsome man we could, and we all loved this man, and like his eyes were so beautiful or whatever, all this stuff, and it was Leonardo DiCaprio very likely.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Because when you put them side by side, you're like, oh yeah, it looks like a
Yeah, it really
3D,
does,
like,
yeah.
polygon version of Leo.
Yeah. It's fitting. I think he's a good casting.
Especially like 90s Leonardo
Yeah,
DiCaprio.
Yeah, it's a real
He was like a
heartthrob.
real teen.
Yeah.
Teen heartthrob, yeah.
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 But so once Miyamoto was like, yeah, make a kid too, and that like literally doubled the amount of work they had to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That also like is kind of how like I imagine like the whole story got rewritten at that point. Nobody knows what like the plot was before that, but
That actually makes sense because one of my like kind of one of the only things that I really have to criticize about the game is that I don't fully feel like the kid progression into adult is like necessary or like fully executed in a way that feels necessary, you know? Like at least in the beginning it just kind of feels like, why is this happening until later?
I know what you mean.
Do you feel that way at all, Dylan?
like say more about what you mean.
Like it feels like
Like, do you mean when you're a kid at the beginning, it doesn't feel like you should be a kid, or
no, it's more like and maybe this is partially because when I was a kid, I only ever played up through the Deku tree and like into the second dungeon, and so to me like playing it, it's like this one game where you're a kid Link and you do this kid stuff, and then it just kind of after an amount of time that feels too long to be natural, it becomes a totally different game where you're going back and forth and you're an adult and it's like has this different change of tone, and it just something about that feels weird to me.
It's like the Psycho of video games.
No, that's I think that's why it's
Just
great.
ignore
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Link gets stabbed through a shower, or like
And
his
Link dies.
love gets stabbed through a shower, and then
Yeah.
he sees what life really
And
is.
then the rest of the movie's about the guy who murdered him, Adult Link. Think about it.
Yeah, Think about it, Tim.
I
No,
do
but
know
that
what you
is why
mean.
it's great, because it's like, oh, this is just like a fun little adventure, and then like really suddenly it's like everything is like really dark.
Yeah, no, and I mean, yeah, okay. Especially, yeah, like when you first come out of the
first
Temple
come
of
out, yeah.
Time,
Yeah.
that's one of the coolest moments,
Yeah.
like, in
Yeah.
any game ever. Just because it's like, it is so successful at making this once, like, vibrant, happy little place just feel horrible
Yeah,
and destroyed.
yeah.
But I guess it's just, it feels unprecedented or something. Or no, that's not
Like
the right
it's
word.
not set up enough.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Where it's like,
I kind of because I always remember being like,
Yeah.
wait, why am I an adult now? But like,
yeah.
I think
then I'm still
though,
liking it. But yeah,
I mean, yeah, I think it like on the one hand, it's supposed to be like a surprise when it happens, which is cool, but also it's like that that's gonna happen at some point. I feel like because like the
guess.
opening like this title screen or whatever has
Yeah.
adult Link,
Yeah.
and also like, I mean, you just would have known.
did you read any of the words, Tim, in the game?
Like you just would have known if
Because
you were
I
like,
never ever read the words in that. Like,
if you were like when this game was like coming out, like if you like saw any of like the commercials or whatever, I'm sure it had like
Yeah.
adult, like it was like probably mostly like adult Link stuff, I would imagine, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, well, I guess it's weird because it feels like the adult Link part is the main game. Like Ocarina of Time, now having played the whole thing, to me is
Yeah.
the switching back and forth, but mostly being an adult and the dark temples and stuff.
Yeah.
And it feels like you have just a prologue that's a little bit longer than it should be, where it's like the first
Yeah.
It's the
three.
perfect length. No, but like it's
I know what you mean.
Yeah, like, well, I'll say as a kid, that's kind of how I felt. Like, I was like, I just want to be adult Link. Like, I don't want to be kid Link anymore. And I feel like that was like, let me see what I wrote something about this. Because it was like, it's like the ultimate, like kid fantasy of like I get to play as, like, you're playing as this kid, but it's like, I want to be adult Link. And then, like, you
Yeah.
get to be, like, adult Link.
Yeah.
And, like, you're, like, way cooler looking and stuff. And you're like, yeah, this is the real game.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, and then,
That's
you know, you're, well, we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it when we get to talking about the ending.
But wait, Devin,
Yeah.
let's maybe take
Yeah.
just a aside. What
Yeah.
was your experience playing Ocarina of Time as a kid?
So my brother obviously like bought it. I don't probably like close to when it came out. I'm not really sure, but and so like a lot of my memories as a kid of this game are like, I would say it's like equally as much watching him play as it is
Oh,
me
yeah.
playing myself, you know? And like the age difference between me and my brother is basically like young Link and adult Link. So that's kind of interesting too.
That's so accurate. That's so
That's-
funny.
And you do
Probably
kind of
like-
look like Link.
Yeah, you and your brother both kind of look like Link, frankly. You have a very Hylian, like kind of.
Yeah. My brother probably did have like adult Link kind of like hair,
Yeah.
because it was like, he had like pretty long hair for, you know, a while. And then he like had really short hair for a while. But like, so that probably like has something to do with like when I thought my brother was like really cool and stuff as a kid,
Yeah.
of like projecting that onto adult Link and stuff too. That probably has a lot to do with it.
Gosh, I feel like there is something that I almost couldn't possibly be intentional that is like deeply appeals to the child or to like the childhood psychology, you know, about this game. Like what you're saying. Like, I feel like that must be a part
I
of
feel like
why
it's-
it's so iconic to so many people.
I feel like it's definitely intentional. Like, and also, something I was reading about that maybe wasn't intentional or maybe was that A Link to the Past came out in 1991 and Ocarina of Time came out in 1998, which is 7 years. And and when Link like time travels, he's stuck in the like Sage's realm or whatever for 7 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you were like a kid when you played A Link to the Past, then you'd be like an
Yeah.
adult, or like you'd be like adult Link's age when you
Yeah.
play Ocarina of Time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel now that you are adult Link?
Well, so okay, we maybe need to cut this out, but
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I wanted to bang. No,
You're talking about the big fish guy?
no. Like, should I like how much of like our personal, like how much of my like should I like save anything for the Ocarina of Time versus Majora's Mask podcast?
I don't know. That's actually, I didn't even consider, I haven't even really thought about what we would be saying in that episode. 'Cause
Yeah.
now it's like, yeah, actually, what are we going to talk about? Other than
I
like,
think-
because the actual arguments of why,
Yeah.
which one, any either of them would be better is kind of like going to come up in each episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, honestly, we could incorporate it into all 4 episodes.
That's true. Yeah.
We could just make it kind of like a 4-part mega special where it's like
So you guys should title it. That'd be so great.
Zelda part 1 through 4, where it's just like we make a long form argument of why either like they're towards both of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you die and it goes like wah, 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 wah. Like that's when you put that in when you go, and that's why Ocarina of Time is better. And it goes, and it goes or whatever he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you hear the like fairy sound, and then Tim goes, and this is why Majora's Mask.
It's like da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Well, I'm gonna go. I've
Okay.
enjoyed our time.
I mean, you were here longer than I thought you would be.
No,
Yeah.
I'm honest. Well, this just shows I just need to listen to this episode later because I want to know the facts and about the guy who made it. Ultimately, so let me ask you this. I want to. What are your guys' thoughts on Miyamoto thus far? Is he a tyrant?
Well, this is
Or
we're
a
coming
father to
close
all.
to the end of like the real like
Miyamoto's real like hands-on.
gameography.
Yeah.
Miyamoto's revenge.
Because after
Miyamoto's revenge is still to come, I think.
yeah,
With
well,
Star Fox X or whatever. Or was it
When-
Star Fox Zero?
When he takes down Bowser, and he becomes
He
president
becomes
of
the CEO of America Incorporated.
president of CEO of America.
yeah,
Uh,
Unless you can cut that, I
No,
don't
no,
want
no,
to
yeah,
spoil it.
No, well, I mean, because we're gonna probably talk about this more at the end of the season, but we can share our thoughts now.
Yeah.
No one's gonna listen to any of this, so I'd say that I feel like what defines Miyamoto for me, and what I really didn't realize before, is this dichotomy of like pure fun. That's like the phrase he always says. He wants things to be fun. It's like a complete childlike wonder and like appreciation of like just truly simple joy in games, while also being among the darkest, most like truly disturbed artists of the modern era, where he wants us to be in pain. He wants to hurt
Yeah,
us.
he's sadistic for
He
sure.
takes
yeah.
joy in
That is-
hurting us.
I'd say that's like the number one takeaway.
Yeah.
I don't know if that like I don't think he's like sadistic in like the professional sense,
Yeah, yeah.
but in terms of
Well-
like the output of the games.
well, I don't. In preference, doesn't he? Wasn't he? He was famous. People would feel dread hearing him walking down the hall because they knew that he
Yeah.
would inflict upon them hours and hours of work.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna need to make it so this cut sign floats in water.
Yes, but I don't think it was ever like he was ever like mean about things. I think I think he would just be like no, this isn't right. Like we need to
Yeah.
redo this, and it'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, that's so much work.
Yeah.
And like that would happen a lot probably. But yeah, and I think what's interesting about this game is that like I feel like, what do you think, Tim? I feel like this is like the easiest of his games we've played.
Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, do you not think?
Oh my goodness, no.
Like I mean, maybe it's just because I've played it a bunch of times, but it's like I think I only died like once or twice in the whole playthrough.
Yeah, that was not my experience. I think that this is maybe a whole other conversation, but
Yeah.
me and you have a very different relationship with playing this game because you literally said that the end would take me an hour and it took me like 2 full hours.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, I
the-
don't remember exactly. But
I mean, every time that you told me about how long a dungeon would take, it took me about 3 times as long. Took me a full week to beat the water temple.
In Tim's defense, I only heard him swearing and yelling It was infrequent, honestly, but there were still certainly times where
Yeah.
that and putting up the foam all over his room to deaden the noise are the two times right here. I'm like, especially angry.
Yeah. No, like, okay, it's not that there isn't like, especially like in like the puzzle like kind of things, like there is stuff that's definitely like difficult, but I feel like it's like a different level than like
I actually
like
do know
the
what you're
first
saying,
Zelda
I agree.
is like
Absolutely.
insane where it's
Yeah.
like there's just no way to figure out some things without just
Yeah.
like trying a billion different like random things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do feel like as he progresses, you see him more and more giving you all of the pieces of the puzzle and not just like expecting you to like kind of come up with the second half of it.
Yeah, exactly.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you see that even with Mario 64 where it's like it isn't so like
Yeah.
I mean, some of those later levels are like
Yeah.
really hard, but it's also like you don't have to do them.
Yeah.
Really. So
yeah.
or like you only have to play them like like a couple of the stars or whatever, however much you want, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, actually, and I mean, because like the whole ending of the game really isn't nearly as like hard as I was expecting it to be.
Of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I was also thinking with the battle with Ganon and Ganondorf, I was like, this is probably, I mean, except for the volleyball or the tennis part that we kept dying at. But really, honestly, like if our controls were better, this would be one of the easiest boss battles.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
he like was like, all right, I want to make this like cool and cinematic, not
Yeah.
an
Especially
actual, like,
Ganon, like is
difficult.
very
It's
easy.
yeah.
Like after
Yeah.
I
I
was.
don't know if you can. Oh, you did die during Ganon too, right?
I
Remember?
think so.
he's-
Yeah.
But like, he can't kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah. It's just, at a certain point, I was almost like, "Am I doing this wrong? Like, this isn't hurting him clearly because I'm not really doing anything."
Were you like trying to just hit him from the front on?
Well,
No, he was
I mean, I was just shooting with the arrow and hitting his back. I was like, "This is so simple. Clearly, I'm
Oh.
forgetting
Yeah,
a
yeah.
step."
Oh yeah.
But you know.
No.
All right.
Thank you, Andy, for joining us. Do you want to like make this the end?
Sure, yeah.
Oh,
But we're doing another episode. Don't
today.
Get, I mean,
Yeah.
we're here.
Sweet.
So tune in.
Thank you for being here, Andy.
Yeah, thank you, Andy, and thank you, listener. Both of you can tune in next week for the second part of this discussion on Oot.
Oot, oot, oot.
Oot, 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 oot.
Oot is ort.
Then you just start playing Ubagort in the background.
Ooh,
And then
Zelda
like,
sounds.
can you like mix it with the like Song of Storms?
Yeah, actually, that's a kind of a Zelda-y sounding song.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.